So in my previous video, I talked about how 9-to-5 jobs can be used to transition into entrepreneurship. You know, the skill acquisition, the things you learn in a 9-to-5 can pivot you and push you into the entrepreneurial path. But not everyone wants to become an entrepreneur, right? And this video is for you guys want freedom, you guys want autonomy, you guys want, a good life. But maybe you don't want to have a bunch of employees, or maybe you don't even want to. You want to live freely. You just want to be spontaneous. You want to live more of a reflective, contemplative, spiritual life. A minimalist in some way. If that's for you, stick around. So we all work, right, for the most part in the United States. And, a lot of countries I know, they have a lesser push for their labor force. Like I think like Italy, some parts of Italy, like they only work like 30 hours a week. Like I was talking to some guy a few months ago from Italy. He was in my Uber and he was telling me that like they don't work a lot in I think it was southern Italy, like the southern half of Italy, going like towards Naples. He said that they don't work as much. They really have like a 30-hour work week. They have like an hour or two lunch break. And they just have a more laid back form of living than we do here in the Western world. So, in the United States and Canada and, Western democracies. So, as far as you wanting to transition into maybe a minimalistic lifestyle, maybe you live off of your passive incomes through dividends, or maybe you learn how to day trade, because again, there's a lot of different ways to navigate financial freedom. Like you can do it through a business. You can do it through a business with investments. You can do it with real estate, with stocks, right? With long-term compounding. Or you could do it through dividends. You could do it through trading, SPY, trading QQQ, right? So whatever the case may be, whatever your avenue is, or whatever you feel like is going to be best for you, then you have to navigate that. And so if you're a minimalist, right, or maybe you just don't like dealing with people. I know so many people that, because oftentimes we think that financial freedom entails us being a business owner, right? It entails us being, in charge, our own boss and everything. And that is true, right? But also, you have to realize that not everyone wants to have employees. Not everyone wants to have people under them that they have to answer to, right? Not answer to, but hold accountable. Like, as far as that aspect of a business goes, like that can seem daunting. That can seem frustrating, and people might not like that. That might seem like hell for some people, right? I know that even me, I don't think I'd want a lot of employees personally, right? I mean, I don't mind people, but I can tell you what, having 20, 30, 40 people work under me, that sounds like a shit show. That sounds like something that I wouldn't want to experience. Right now, if I had a couple people working with me, helping me out, okay, that's different, right? But as far as like, living freely, I think that's the ultimate thing that we want. So oftentimes we think that comes with a business, right? But you can actually transition, you can actually live on not a lot of money and be free. Right? So if you don't want a business, if you don't want to work, right? Or maybe you don't want a family, you don't want, a life where you have a decent chunk of living expenses, then I would say that you should aim to work your 9-to-5 right now, if that's where you're at, right? You work, you deal with whatever you deal with in your 9-to-5, right? You don't complain about it. And you aim to invest into dividends, or you learn how to day trade. Right? Because if you learn how to invest, and you learn how to live off your investments, and you learn how to reinvest also, and you also know how to day trade, then the sky's the limit for you. I know so many people that literally day trade and don't do anything else. They literally live off day trading. Now, obviously there is a learning curve. Like you have to learn, chart patterns, technical analysis, how to have the right mindset, because there's a lot that goes into it. But as far as like the ability for you to be free off of that, it is definitely possible. And here's the thing, right? This is the thing that I like about trading and dividends and this way of living off your this way of having income, is that you don't need to deal with people, right? And again, that's that's kind of like a shocker for some people, because we're all kind of programmed to, you know, work a job and work with other people, right? And you know, do our own, you know, basically that's how we see work, right? Wherever we go, we have coworkers, we have colleagues, but I don't think that's for everybody, right? I don't think working with people is for everybody. You know, in the short term, yes, right? Because you got to pay bills, you got to save, you got to invest, you have to get the foundation going. But as far as like a long-term plan, right? It's like, obviously the 9 to 5 is something no one wants, right? Long term, no one wants that. So as far as like your freedom goes, right? You can live off of income and live off day trading, right? And if you want, right, what you can do is you can go to countries that don't require you to live on a lot, right? Like if you have to live, let's say you move to Colombia or Thailand, or what other countries are cheap? I know there's other countries that are cheap too. I think Georgia is pretty cheap. You can look online, but there's countries, guys, you can live on $1,000 a month. So if you're able to day trade and make $250 a week day trading, which is easily doable if you learn it, right? All you would have to make is like realistically $1,200 a month to day trading. And obviously the better you get, the more you'll make. But as far as like the lifestyle, the ability to live like that, it's possible, right? And so you know, this isn't for everybody. Like, I'm not going to do this, but if, again, like I said, if you don't want to have a family, right, or you just want to kind of get away from the Western world, which is totally understandable. In the Western world, guys, you know, as great as we see it from a capitalistic free market standpoint, which it is good in that sense, it's very strenuous, meaning like you have to put a lot of exertion to live like how you could live in other countries, right? Like if you want to live, you know, if you want to live a luxurious life here, right, you have to make, to save, you got to make at least, you know, $70,000 to $80,000 a year to be able to not only save, but to invest so that you can buy back your time somewhere in the future. So if you kind of want to shortcut that process, I think living abroad is a great idea. Learning how to day trade, learning how to live off dividends, right? And obviously, again, that'll take time for you to learn and build up, but it's very practical, and you don't have to deal with the ups and downs of a business as well. Like even me, like, you know, I talk about this a lot, but like YouTube's up and down. The algorithm, sometimes it's great, sometimes it's shooting you one video, you get 3,000 views, the next video you get 2,000 views, but then the next video you get 100 views, right? So it's like it's very hard to not to sustain, but to predict that it'll be consistent, right? If you know that you can day trade, you know that you'll be able to make $100 a day, right? Or $80, $200 a day, but somewhere in that range if you know what you're doing, and you know that Monday through Friday that stock market's going to be open, right? So it doesn't matter if you post a video on Monday. Like for example, if you post a video on Monday and it does shit, and you post another video on Tuesday and it does shit, well, now you're fucked, right? So because, and it's just as far as content creation goes, like, you know, it's a good side hustle. Like working right now, talking to you guys is enjoyable. Like I love sharing these ideas and ways of going about life with you guys. But as far as it becoming like a full-time thing, is it possible? Of course it's possible. Will it take 5, 10, 15 years? Yes. Will it happen in 2 years? No. 3 years? No. Maybe year 5, year 6, year 10? Yes. But as far as you wanting to shortcut that process and escape the 9 to 5, if you just don't see yourself wanting to be here, which again, America's not for everybody. The Western world, a capitalist economy, a hyper-capitalist economy is not for everybody. Some people, again, just want to enjoy the finer things in life. Some people want to just, like me, for example, enjoying a nice day out is good enough for me. I don't need to make a lot of money to enjoy life. Enjoying a nice day right here in the sun, sitting, you know, maybe doing some stretching, that's perfect for me. I feel content, right? Now, obviously, again, I have a girlfriend and a family, you know, so again, it's different for me. But the average person, right, who just wants that freedom and that autonomy and that peace, like there's peace that comes with freedom. There's peace that comes with being outside, being in nature, and also like choosing what you want to learn, choosing what you want to study. there's a whole wide world of knowledge and experiences you can have outside of your regimented 40-hour work week. So again, I'm just kind of bringing this to the surface because, again, I don't want you guys to think that, you know, the financial freedom videos I talk about and the path towards building wealth, it's great, but like I said, it's oftentimes it's stressful, it's frustrating, and it's not for everybody, right? But I do want to point out the fact that you can live a free life. You can live a life of peace, of clarity, of just ease, relative ease. Like there's not a lot of resistance, right? Like we don't want to, I don't in the future, in my 40s, 50s, and I'm sure you guys can relate, I don't want to have to keep struggling to get to make it to Friday or to make it to the end of the month, right? Like that's a losing game, and you do that decade after decade. So again, it's just choosing which path you want to go down, but making sure that you choose a path, right? Because I think the worst thing, you know, I've talked about the two paths that you can go down, but the worst thing is being stuck in something that you didn't choose, right? Like, again, I talk about this and I mention this a lot, but like humans, a lot of our happiness is 90% of our happiness. There was a psychological, they did this study, it's like from Psychology or Today or something. They said that 90% of our happiness and our well-being is contingent upon the amount of control that we have in our lives. So if you're in a 40-hour, 50-hour work bind on a weekly basis, decade after decade, and you just don't have any way to get out of that, and you feel like you're stuck, that is what the life of misery is. Being a slave, right? Like being a slave is the ultimate form, in my personal opinion, of hell. Like obviously there's torture, there's war, there's famine, there's pedophilia, there's also all these horrible things, right? There's starvation, but in the widely accepted things that we tolerate in modern day culture in our world right now, the worst thing is accepting a 40-50 hour work week that you didn't choose and that you have no plan of working around and getting out of. That is by far the worst, by far. Because again, what does that do? What is life made of? Life is made out of what? Time. So if your time is being spent doing shit that sucks, doing shit that brings you down, that makes you sad, that makes you depressed, that is hell on earth. That is hell on earth. So I really want you guys to kind of like, just take in what I'm saying and understand it and realize that like you have the power to control where you go, what you do, how much you spend, how much you invest. And again, you need to take it very seriously because again, the opportunities are there. The sky is the limit, right? Like God is incarnated itself. We're made in the likeness and image of God, right? So there's infinite potential that we all have, right? But it's up to you to realize that you can be a conscious creator in the life that you shape and the life that you create and manifest physically. So you know, with that knowledge, you can create whatever you want. But by default, you can also create what you don't want. So again, it's about knowing what you want. If you want to be a minimalist, if you want to live freely, if you want to have a peaceful life, know that that's what you want, and know that you need to learn certain things and figure things out and adopt a mindset that's conducive to getting that result in reality and executing that and following through with that on a daily basis, year over year, right? And again, I don't think you can fail if you go about it that way. I don't think you can fail long term. You'll have setbacks, but you'll figure it out. You'll be able to bust through, and you'll be able to get to where you want to be. So, anyways, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope this video inspired you. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.